The nature and the purpose of research. So what is research? When you hear the word research, what comes to mind? Anyone?
Information.
So information, anything else?
Finding that
Investigation.
information.
Investigation, okay. So those are two things that would have two words that pops out at us when we're talking about research. Now, research, a proper definition of research is sometimes referred to as a systematic inquiry. Research entails ordered collection, presentation, and analysis of information based on a specific topic. In other words, for you to do a research, or when we are talking about research, systematic means that you must do some things in order. All right? And before you can do certain things in order, you need to know, and this is before you collect your information, there are certain things that you need to know. So it's an systematic inquiry. So systematic, something that is an inquiry that actually has stages. So there's one step, just like how if you're home and you're going up a step, so you need to get from downstairs to upstairs, or even at school, you need to get from the bottom floor to the other floor upstairs, the building, to the classroom. You move from one step to the next, to the next, to the next. Something that is systematic. That's what we mean when we're talking about research. It's a systematic inquiry. So one, it entails you collect information. So you have to collect information. You have to analyze the information. You have to present that information when you are doing a research. Now, when we're looking at research, you can't research on every single thing. So it must be on a specific topic. So that's one of the reasons last week you were given topics to decide on which topic you're going to do. Because there's no way in the world one person or one group can do a research on every single topic, all right? So that is the first thing. Now, the next thing, ladies, reasons for conducting research. There are several different reasons for conducting research, why people go and do research. And one of the first reasons is that research is undertaken to add to the body of information that exists on a particular topic. So what do I mean by to add to a body of information? We know for sure that other people would have done research before. There's nothing new under the sun based on what the scripture says, for those of us who are faith-based. So there's nothing new under the sun. People would have done research on topics before. And for example, I will use HIV and AIDS, or maybe diabetes. So we're in a pandemic right now, COVID. The world would have seen several different pandemics before. Would have seen a pandemic in the 1900s, and right now we're going through COVID. So if I'm a researcher today, and I know that most of you, that from what I've seen thus far, most students would have selected some topic COVID related, you're not the first person to do a research on COVID. Right now, people are doing quite a lot of research on COVID. So what you are doing when you are doing a research, or one of the reasons you're going to do a research, is to add to a body, to add to the body of literature, add to what already exists there. So for example, the government would have done maybe research on the impact of COVID on education. And so the government look at the impact of COVID on education. Generally, they would have done their research. You know, as researchers, you're going to look at the impact of COVID on education, but your group is going to be much smaller. So you're going to maybe look at impact of COVID on students at your school, the impact of COVID on teachers at your school, because when the government would have done their research, they would not have covered your specific group. So when you actually do your research, that would give stakeholders, the government, maybe the principal of your school, the board of your school, some form of information of how COVID actually impacts them. So one of the first rationale is that our reason for research is it's undertaken to add to the body of information that exists on a particular topic. Or maybe just a general topic. A general topic not only could be COVID, but just look at diseases generally. People have always, and scholars have always been doing research that deals with disease and how several diseases actually impact us. Another reason for doing a research is either to prove or to disprove an existing theory or hypothesis. Now, a theory is a view. Quite a lot of people would have come up with various different theories, would have come up with different views. For example, we have theories such as maybe socialism, capitalism. You have people come up with different theoretical tools well, back then people would have come up with quite a lot of these theories. And so, for example, I can use one theory, for example, capitalism. Let us use capitalism for one. I know most of you might not be familiar with capitalism, but let's use another one, the theory of evolution. Okay? So, evolution most of us know that evolution is one of the views out there that God didn't create the heaven and the earth, but we would have evolved from some species. When you're doing your research, you as the researcher, you are trying now to prove or to disprove that theory. So that's another reason why people actually conduct research. Views that actually exist out there, theories that actually exist out there to tell whether or not, one second, please. You actually do the research to disprove or to prove a theory. Another way of doing research, or another reason for doing research, is to initiate or to generate new knowledge on a topic. So you need people to know what actually exists on a particular topic, and so you're going to be one of the very first person to, really not one of the very first person, but you're going to be someone who is going to generate new information on a topic. For example, I could use maybe you right now, your cohort, your current cohort will be one of the first set of students to do a topic on COVID and St. Andrew High School for girls. Now, if you are looking maybe at a topic like dancehall, a lot of students would have done research on dancehall, so they are really not generating new information on the topic or new knowledge on the topic. But when you actually conduct your research on COVID and its impact, if you are doing COVID and its impact, then you would be one of the first set of students to actually do a research on that topic. Another reason why we conduct research is for recommendation to an issue or solution to various issues. So when you're research, at the end of your research project, what you're going to do is that you're going to make some recommendations. You're going to make, because there's problems, because you're going to look at a problem, and so you're going to make recommendation. And so in other words, you're giving solution how to solve a particular problem. Now, ladies, there are various different types of research. And my apology for not being interactive because of the time is going, and I would have been the one who would have caused the confusion, because I thought initially that my Zoom could have taken over 100 students. So that is the first thing. And the second thing, I have 2 classes at the same time. So some students on Google Meet and some students on Zoom. My bad. But after this week, next week, we meet only on Google Meet for the common hour. All right? All right, so ladies, types of research. There are several different types of research. So one of the types of research that we have is pure academic research. Another type of research we have is historical research. And I'm going to look at pure academic research later on. Another research is descriptive research, and the other one is experimental research. Now, what do I mean by historical research? Historical research is when you look at things like in the past. So like, for example, me, I am a history teacher, but not only a history teacher, but I am doing some form of history research. So my personal research that I'm doing is to look maybe on the impact of slavery on people in Kingston, or maybe to look at buildings, historical buildings, or what historical building actually means. So historical research basically looks at the past, right? Very, very important research. Another one, descriptive research, provides some form of solution to a social problem. So for example, you have family issues when it comes to the family that is a social problem, and you're trying to find solution to the different problems that family actually have, right? So that would be the descriptive research. Maybe another social problem in our society could maybe be teenage pregnancy. That would fall under social. That's another social issue. And so persons who do descriptive research actually try to find a solution to what are some of the things that we can do to stop teenage pregnancy or to eliminate it. Experimental research is the one that seems quite a lot of fun, especially for those students who are in the science, the natural science, you would have done quite a lot of this research, especially in biology and chemistry, where you go into a lab and you have your different stuff that you have in front of you and you do your different scientific stuff on it. That would be the scientific research. Next. Now, what we are interested in, we are not interested in the historical research. We are not interested in the descriptive research or the experimental research. You are not going into a lab, although to some extent you are looking at a social problem, but not entirely a social problem, or a historical research. You are not really going back into the past. What you are doing for your IA is pure academic research. And so pure academic research is when you add to the body of knowledge that already exists, or it's a requirement for your study, right? So that would involve your pure academic research. It's a requirement that is required of you. So we know for sure that one of the main reasons why you are conducting your research is because your study, the IA syllabus, said that you need to do an IA, an internal assessment. And so that's one of the main reasons why you're going to conduct a research.
Sir?
Go ahead.
Can you go back to the last slide for just 2 seconds, please?
Which one? This one?
The one right before. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yes. So that would include the pure academic research. So it is something that is required by maybe a syllabus, it's required by a study in order for you to get a degree or a certificate or something like that. Then that would be the pure academic research. Go ahead, Oakley. It's good. Okay, it's good seeing your name showing up though, Oakley. Just all is well. Okay, you're not responding.
Yes, sir.
Good,
Sorry.
good. Benjamin, will this presentation be sent to us? It's already sent to you. All right, good. It's in the Google Classroom, all right? So it's already sent. From last night, I sent it. Now, ladies, what are the nature of research? What do we mean by the nature of research? What does research entail? One, research must have a clear objective. You need to have your objectives. Why are you going to do the research? Questions that you're going to ask, it must be valid and it must be fair. Valid and fair questions. Your data must be analyzed with great care. So when you're interpreting your data, you have to take great care in interpreting your data. You really can't just take the information and just treat the information any and anyhow. Another thing is that when you're in terms of the nature of the research is that you can use theories in analyzing your data. Now, for your research that you're doing, you are not going to use theories to any form of theory to really deal with your format data, right? Because your research is really on a simpler level, quite a simple research. So one, your research must be clear, it must be valid and fair, Your questions must be valid and fair. You can't ask the questions, it makes no sense for you to ask questions that you know will not add any value to your research. All right? So that is one thing. The next thing, ladies, is that research is multidisciplinary. What do we mean by research is multidisciplinary? Research is not just one discipline, academic discipline. So your research is not a history research, it is not a education research, another discipline, it's not a chemistry research, it is multidisciplinary, meaning you can look at various topics when you're actually doing your research. Another thing, ladies, is that research is complex. There are several different stakeholders and variables involved when you're doing your research. So what do I mean by stakeholders? Those are the persons who are going to, you're going to interview. Those are the persons who you're going to give your questionnaires to. Quite a lot of different persons are involved. And so it is very complex, and getting information from people, your participants, can be quite a challenge. So it is quite complex. Now, the next thing, ladies, are the different key terms that we need when we are looking at research. So we need to have a research problem, we need to have our research objectives, and our research question. Research problem, research objectives, research questions, right? Research problem. Now, a research problem or research theme is a topic you would like to investigate or to address or to study. So that is your research problem or your research theme. So we know for sure that each group would have given a syllabus and you have to choose your theme. CXC is the one that would have given you the themes for you to do the research, and you are supposed to select the topics from the theme. So that is a problem that you are going to investigate. The research objectives. What are the research objectives? The research objectives summarize or describe what is to be achieved in the project. What do you intend to achieve at the end of the project? What do you want to know while you're doing the research on this particular topic? So you must have at least 3 or 4 objectives, right? 3 or 4 objectives while you're doing the research. And one of your main objectives while you're doing the research is that it is a requirement of studies. So you need to also state that when you're doing your write-up for your research. State it that it's one of the requirements. So you have one your objective out. Now you need now to look at the problem that you're going to study and state what you intend to learn from this research. Now, objectives provide you with the hour of your research topic. In essence, how do you intend to achieve the aim of your research? How do you plan to achieve the aim of your research? Or in other words, how do you plan to conduct your research, or what information you plan to glean from your research? So that's what it means when we're talking about our research objectives. All right. When also, ladies, is that you need to put your problem, your research problem, in specific terms. So your research problem should not be something that is generalized. It must be specific. You need to have a specific group that you're going to look at, because there's no way, if you're doing your research, you can look at, for example, let us look, for example, one, impact of COVID on students in Jamaica. There's no way you can look at all the students in Jamaica. So you must narrow, or you can't look at all the students in Hertfordshire. You can't do that. So it must be specific. You must have it in specific term what you intend to do. So you must narrow it to maybe a school. For me, I would say you can narrow, you need to narrow your research. Or not, I'm not going to say need to, but you could also narrow your research to a particular year group. So you could look at maybe the impact of COVID on the health of students in grade 7 or grade 8 or grade 9. You can, it must be specific, all right? So what we're going to do, I know that our time has expired, we just have 5 more minutes, is that when we're doing our research, we need to narrow our research topic. We need to choose our research topic in a context. For us, I know it's general, but for paper's sake, identify relevant theory. You are not working with theories. You don't need to use any real, you don't need to use any theory for your research. Write and rewrite your question or your working title. The truth is that you would have been given a title or sample titles to work with. So most of you already have your research titles, already your research problem, because that was actually given to you. The next thing that you need to do, ladies, is that you need to use published literature. Go and do the research. How are you going to do the research? You're going to go and do a literature review by starting to read the information on the topic that you're going to do. And you're going to have a book where you write down and you say, these are some of the possible outcome that you think. So for example, on the outset, you could say, all right, the impact of COVID, we know that one could be financial problem. So we know from the outcome that that could be a possibility, right? Health, some people are actually mourning, death and families. Those are some of the possibilities. So when we're doing our research, we know for sure that we define our topic. We already define our topic. What we need to do is to gather the background information on the topic. So your aim for this week, by next week, you should meet in a group and have some form of background information on the topic, because I know everybody should have selected their research topic or their research topic. By now, you should maybe come up with 4 or 5 objectives by now. And then the next thing you need to do is to go out and gather the background information on your topic. So for example, get some background information on where you are going to do. So if you're going to look at Jamaica College, you're going to look at St. Andrew High School for girls, you're going to look at maybe a school, not your school, your community or a specific street. Go and do some background information on those places. And then the next thing is that you need to locate your sources. How am I going to, who would have done research on this area before? Or this topic before? Who would have done research on crime? Who would have done research on health? Who would have done research on this topic? So that is what you're going to do. And then after you locate your source, you need to evaluate them. You need to go read the sources, So if it is a book, if it is a journal article, if it is a newspaper article, whatever it is, you need to read it, evaluate it, make note of it, of them, and ensure that when you're evaluating your source, you actually cite your information, where you actually get your information from. All right, so in just to close 1 minute, the first thing, identify the problem. Most of us identify our problem already. Your next step this week is your reviewing your literature. Start to review your literature, all right? And get some background information on your topic. So that covers the nature and the purpose of research. My sincere apology for the confusion this morning, ladies. And if you have any question, you can send me an email, all right, on this.
Okay, sir.
Go ahead.
Before you go, I just like to say, I don't know where you sent the document, but I can't find it.
Yes, sir. Me either. I don't
I really
see it in
don't
the
see
Google
it.
Classroom.
Yeah.
All right. Anyone from, all right, maybe I send it to my group.
Okay.
Yes, sir. I didn't get it neither.
So can you just send it
No,
to
sir.
Yeah, man, I will send it to the Common Hour group.
Thank you, sir.
Sorry about that. So I'm going to upload it and the presentation to the Common Hour group right now.
Thank you, sir.
So sorry about that, ladies. And if you have any query, let me know, please.
Oh, sir. Class is finished?
It is.
Okay, sir. Bye. Okay, sir.